The story of Helen Keller. Helen Keller was a woman of pure inspiration. Being a renowned writer and author, as well as becoming the first blind deaf woman to obtain a Bachelor of Arts degree, as well as obtaining her own day named after her, she was a high-octane activist for social injustice when campaigning for both women's rights and disabled people's acceptance and equal opportunities too. However, her inspiring story did not come without its tribulations. Helen had went blind and deaf through illness in her early infancy, and due to not learning to speak prior to her illness, meaning early on in her life before her education. She had little to no form of communication between herself and her family. This meant she had immense difficulty comprehending the world around her, whilst missing two of her most vital senses for so long. Being a disabled person in the 1900s was difficult enough as it is, but along with being a woman in a patriarchal and male-dominated society meant that success and breaking the societal barriers was double hard for her throughout her lifetime. Helen's life seemed like a relentless challenge. There would never seem to be a moment of rest for the obstacles she faced as a result of missing two of her most important senses. However, this never defined her life and legacy. As previously stated, despite her obvious challenges, Helen Keller did not let her disabilities define her life. She achieved so much despite the setbacks she would have faced. She was the first blind deaf woman to achieve and obtain a Bachelor of Arts degree, as well as becoming a renowned writer, publishing her own autobiography in 1903, which is still in print to this very day and has become known as one of the most famous autobiographies of modern times. As well as her literary talents, she was politically active too, being a member of the Socialist Party for over a decade. During this time in politics and throughout the rest of her life, she would become known for advocating for women's right to vote as well as women's right to have access to birth control. Ideologies that now seem commonplace, but in her male-dominated world would have been met with some criticism. Lessons from Helen Keller. Number 1. Disabilities are only a setback, they do not define you. Number 2. Always strive for what you believe in. Number 3. Always strive to break barriers regardless of your societal norms. Helen Keller was a woman of immense bravery and inspiration, with a resolute belief in what she and people of her similar situations could achieve in life. Despite what the world she grew up in would tell her, she was an inspiration for many suffering with disability and loss of senses, as well as women struggling and fighting through to achieve equal rights at a time where barriers in society had been put in place on people of her ilk. She broke all these barriers and more of what was expected of her and her beliefs and motivating story lives on today as many continue to fight for women's rights around the world and the acceptance and equal rights of many disabled people across the globe.